Once again, welcome to this Twitter space. Sudesh Kaka is my name, the team leader at Sudesh International Consult, where we help forward thinking leaders create clarity through training, coaching, and consulting so that they turn a profit and increase their impact. We've been around for quite some time, but it's not about how long we've been around, it's what we've been able to do. But that's a story for another day. So let's get straight into the topic for today, and we intend to take strictly about 25 minutes and then we'll get to something else. So, for starters, the topic of our discussion today is how to think productively. And you can expect four things from this call. One is to understand the difference between productive and unproductive thinking. Number two, to understand the purpose of thinking. Three, I'll guide you on how to think productively. I hope you have a pen, you have a pencil, you have a paper, you have a phone where to write, and you have something that you want to think about productively. Okay, so I'll guide you on a process on how to think productively, and then we'll go into the Q&A, and that will be the end of it. So that's how we're going to be flowing today. So this Twitter space was inspired last week. Last week I was down in Dar es Salaam, and I had so many engagements, and there's this lady. She's called Shabnam. I know you're on the space. Shabnam works with Stallion attorneys in Dar es Salaam, and we're talking about how the legal industry is not receptive to thinking creatively, and why it's a misconception. And I said, oh, come on, why don't I do a Twitter space on how to think productively? Okay, productively and or creatively. And that's how it was born. But it doesn't mean that I started knowing about the subject last week. I've been thinking creatively way back. So let me give you a little bit of a background story. So the year is about 2017, and there's a friend who approaches me and tells me, you know what, I think we need to start studying how to think. So I'm thinking, studying how to think, how do we monetize that? Because I didn't want to just study things for the sake of studying them. So I'm thinking, how do we monetize that? But I said, you know what, let me give it a shot. So every Wednesday from 2017, I started committing some time to learning how to think productively. And then I started getting into things. I started realizing that thinking productively is not as obvious as people make it look like. It looks like some people know how to think productively. Some people are just given to the other side of not thinking productively. And sometimes we give it names like positive energy, negative energy. And that seems to be the story of how things flow. But that's not how things work. And you're about to find out more about that on this call. So, who am I to even tell you to think productively? I mean, don't you think every day? It is said that on average, an average person has 50,000 thoughts per day, and 80% of those thoughts are about food. Just think about that. 50,000 thoughts a day, and most of those thoughts are about food. What am I going to eat? Oh, this food smells nice. People think about food more than anything. But very few people know how to think productively. And if thinking productively is that obvious, why don't so many people know about it? It's because somewhere along the line, we become complacent. You're just thinking, no, I'm not going to learn about thinking. And as I put up this topic, I knew that not many people would be on the call because it doesn't sound that attractive, like how to ask for a pay rise or how to get most out of your life. There are very few people that would want to be on such a call, and I applaud you for being here. So why don't people think productively is because of complacency. Complacency is the enemy of all progress. So is resignation. Most people are resigned to thinking. If you believe that you're perfect, then you make no effort to get better. If you have given up, you make no effort. You'll be amazed at how many people don't actually want to think. In my coaching career, most of the time I'm guiding people on how to think. I ask them, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? How about this? Have you put yourself in the shoes of the customer? How about you putting yourself in the shoes of the user, or the product or the service that you're planning to bring on market? How will they react to it? All those things. So people are not given to thought, to thinking about their thoughts. Today I want to help you to think about your thoughts and help you to make those thoughts to be productive. Another thing that I want to share is that before I even go into the purpose of thinking, is that every valued creative idea will always be logical in hindsight. Case in point, think about safe border here in Uganda. Everyone knew that people were getting accidents from borders, and they knew that when you go to the National Referral Hospital, there are so many people that are sick in that place, and their legs have been cut off, their hands, some of them have died. But everyone did not think about that idea until safe border comes around, and then you see so many others coming on board, Bolt, Uber border, and all these other guys. How come no one thought about it? I want to actually show you on this call that there's a process to think like that. There's a process to come up with ideas that no one has thought through, and you don't have to pray a special prayer to come up with those ideas. Yes, prayer might get you there, but there's a formula to getting there. And I like the quote by Ford that said, remember, I'm just giving the preamble on why thinking is important and why you need to engage in productive thinking. I like the quote by Henry Ford that say that thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why very few people engage in it. So, by and large, most people want to do things that are familiar. They want to do things that look familiar. You want a template for this, you want a template for that, you want a template for this. Why? Because that helps us to think less and produce the work faster. That is very fine. But what if you need to improve on the idea? Can you actually do it? Is there a process for that? It's there, but like Ford said, it is hard work. And this call is not going to be the entire solution for you to learn to think productively. You're going to have to work the principles so that the principles work for you. Okay, thus far, I hope I've given you enough preamble, so let's get straight into what I promised. So, what is the purpose of thinking, or how do most people actually think? Let's start from there. How do most people think? Okay, so most people think about their thoughts, most especially around December coming to January, because the cycle is ending and another year is beginning, and you have plans for 2023, you have plans for 2024, and you think about these thoughts, you do plans, and you say, okay, I'm going back to school, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, I'm going to do, you have a list of so many things that you're going to do. So January, February, most people are thinking about their thoughts. Around coming to March there, everyone goes back to original settings. You just go through you wake up, pray, shower, go to work, come back home, go to work, go through that cycle until Friday. The weekend comes, you go to church. 1 month, before you know it, the year has ended, and then you think about what you need to do for the next year. Most people think like that. They think about doing, and it's about action. But if you're that kind of person, you are a lazy thinker. and I'm the one that has to tell you that. Okay? The right way to think is to start by asking yourself, what do I value as a person? Okay? What do I value? All right. If I value security, if I value financial independence, your values, my values should lead me to what I believe. So values lead to beliefs. Okay, so let's say I value financial independence, then I would believe that chasing financial independence is a worthwhile goal. So my value lead to my beliefs lead to my expectations lead to my attitudes, and my attitudes will lead to my actions. So going back to a person that values financial independence, they will believe that going after financial independence is a worthwhile goal, and so the expectations that that person has of themselves is that, you know what, I need to get out of debt, I need to make sure that I've done some investments, and then their attitudes are those of keeping on trying and learning, and then they will take the action saying, okay, this is the investment that I'm going to make, this is what I'm going to do, blah 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 blah, and that's how they get to the end goal. So as you can see, you don't say, it's the beginning of the year, I'm going to do ABCD, I'm going to get out of a rented house, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You don't start by planning the action. You start by asking yourself what you value, because what you value leads to what you believe leads to your expectations, and your expectations lead to your attitudes, and your attitudes lead you to your actions. So that is the thinking process. Now, what is the purpose of thinking? Okay. The purpose of thinking is to deliver you to the values you seek, just like the purpose of a bicycle is to get you where you want to go. You remember, you guys have ridden a bicycle. When you get on the bicycle, what happens? You get on, you balance, and then you start cycling. Now, the assumption is that when you're on a bicycle, you should use less energy, and that bicycle should get you faster to where you're going, and help you to get to the destination when you're less tired. In the same way, thinking allows you to enjoy your values more effectively. I hope this is making sense. If you have any questions, please remember the handle is at Consult Sudesh. You can put your questions there. I'll be able to answer them in a couple of minutes from now. So, recap, I've gone through what the purpose of thinking is, and I've compared it to a bicycle. Just like a bicycle gets you faster to where you're going, in the same way, if you start from the values, you remember what I told you about the values, the beliefs, and expectations leading to the actions. So thinking allows you to enjoy your values more effectively. All right. Now, I told you this is not the most attractive topic, but it's one of those Twitter spaces that you might have to listen to over and over to get certain things. Okay. So let's get to the part of unproductive thinking. How do you know that you actually now I've gone to the part where I'm comparing productive thinking and unproductive thinking. So let's first look at unproductive thinking. You know, some of you are saying, you know what, I'm a productive thinker. I'm a productive thinker. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm a child of God. I read the Bible, so I'm a productive thinker. Oh, wait. You'll be shocked that sometimes the most unproductive thinkers are not necessarily people that think are people that think that they are productive thinkers. So let's look at how productive thinking manifests. It manifests in about 7 ways. The first one is through negative thinking. Negative thinking is when you're pessimistic, like you look at the negative side of things. You're saying, oh my God, the bridge broke down on Masaka Road. How are we going to get where we're going to get? Will I even be able to get to Masaka? Now, when you start being pessimistic, you create self-doubt. So that is the first manifestation of unproductive thinking. The second manifestation is what we call black or white thinking. That is where you have two alternatives. Like, I either go to school or I don't, or I eat matoke or I don't. No, they are more than them, unless we are talking about morals. When it comes to morals, you're either doing the right thing or the wrong thing. But when it comes to being creative, there are so many ways. I think I was talking about one of the Twitter spaces. I was talking about institutionalized education and non-institutionalized education, and both types of education that you need. So black and white thinking applies to morals, but beyond morals, it becomes negative thinking, because there are more than 5 ways to cook rice. It's not either boiled rice or vegetable rice. No, there are more than 2 ways to do things. The third manifestation of unproductive thinking is what we call mindless thoughts. So, have you ever been there and you're seated in a car and then a thought drops in your head about how your parent is going to die, and then you see the coffin, and then you see all these things, and it just goes on repeat, and it plays over and over and over, and you feel like you don't have control over this thought. It puts you down, but it feels like you have no control over this thought. That is what we call mindless thoughts, and it's a manifestation of unproductive thinking. An experiment was done in the USA, and they got 4 monkeys. They got 4 monkeys, and they put them in one cage. Okay, let's say 3. They got monkey 1, monkey 2, and monkey 3. Put them in a cage, and then diagonally they put a ladder in that cage, and at the top of one of the corners they put bananas. Okay, so they attached a siphon to this cage. So remember, there are 3 monkeys in this cage: monkey 1, 2, and 3. So this is what they did. Monkey one saw the bananas, and monkey 1 started climbing the ladders to go for the what? For the bananas. When monkey 1 started going for the bananas, they splashed water. Remember, there's a siphon attached to the cage. So they splashed water all over the cage, and monkey 2 and 3 beat up monkey 1 because they were saying, you know what, you're making this guy splash water on us. So monkey number 1 came down. Okay, so monkey number 2, when monkey number 1 came down, they removed monkey number 1 from the cage and introduced monkey number 4. Okay, so now you have monkey number 2, number 3, and number 4 in the cage. Monkey number 2 tries to go after the same bananas. Okay, now this time, as it tries to go after the bananas, monkey number 3 and 4 pull down monkey number 2, and they start beating it. This time they did not even splash water. Question is, did monkey number 4 know why it was beating monkey number 2? And the answer is no. It just had a mindless thought. It was on repeat. Sometimes you have to think about what you're thinking about there. I need you to examine, okay, why do you wake up and go to work? Why are you married? Why do you go to that church? Why do you have children? What is your plan for this year? Why are you going to wake up next day and do what you have to do? Is that the career that you want? Because if you don't think about these things, you get into what we call mindless thoughts, and it becomes unproductive thinking. Yes, you going to work and going to that church and going to and doing these things and becoming like clockwork it might look like productive, but when you do not question and you do not evaluate why you're doing the things that you do, they become mindless thoughts, and you cease to find purpose in those things. So that's the third manifestation of unproductive thinking. The other one is every time you find yourself blaming or making excuses, you're into unproductive thinking. You take away the power from yourself. I think I've said this time and over again that you know, when you think you have no power, when you just when you take away power from yourself, you become irresponsible. Okay, when you find yourself making excuses, blaming so and so, blaming this one, blaming that one, you just know that is unproductive thinking. Whether you're right, whether you seem right, or you seem right, that is unproductive thinking. The fifth manifestation of unproductive thinking is exaggeration. You know, there are people that can exaggerate things. You saw this during COVID. There are some that are still putting on masks. Why? Because they have anxiety, they have fear, they have stress. That is unproductive thinking. Yeah. And then there are people that quickly jump into conclusions. Oh my God, they've shot 2 people in Chanja. We need to move from Chanja. Who told you? Okay, I stay in that place, but just because they shot 2 people doesn't mean that you move. You need to get into some sort of thinking, and you don't draw conclusions. There could be around 10,000 people or 5,000 people that stay there. 2 have been shot, 2 out of 5,000. Which percentage is that? That is 0.0000 something. Okay, so again, being quick to draw conclusions, and some people do not even think about what they watch over the news. They don't know that news was not designed to inform you. News is designed to startle you. They will report about the 2 people that are killed, but they won't report about the 5,000 people that are still living. That is how news is. That's why, personally, I don't watch news. Okay, so, and then the 7th manifestation of unproductive thinking is what you would call confirmation bias. Now, confirmation bias is when you look for evidence to justify what you're thinking. Like you look for something that you want to see. Let's do a quick experiment. I want you to look around your environment right now and find everything that is brown. 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 Okay, have you done that? Great. Now I want you to close your eyes. I asked you to find everything that is brown. Now I want you to close your eyes and mention everything that you saw that is red. Now I want you to open your eyes, look for red, look around the room. If you're on the road, look on the road. If you're in the car, look in the car. Look for red. Okay, have you seen red? Now I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to mention everything that you saw that was yellow. What have I just done there? I made you focus on something. Okay, I've just done what you call confirmation bias. I made you look for something that I wanted you to look for, and as long as you looked for it, you saw a lot of it. Now, when you close your eyes, I was going against confirmation bias. I asked you for things that you did not think about, and guess what? You struggled to even name them. But when you opened your eyes, you actually saw you saw a lot of them. Okay, that is how confirmation bias works. So, unproductive thinking can manifest through negative thinking, black and white thinking, mindless thoughts, blaming or making excuses, jumping to quick conclusions, exaggerations, and confirmation bias. So that is unproductive thinking. And by now, you should have realized that most of the problems actually made up by your thoughts. I like what the leadership guru John Maxwell says. He says that most of the time, the problem is not the problem. The problem is that you think the problem is the problem. So you create a problem that wasn't a problem, that has become a problem, not because it was a problem, but because you thought there was a problem. Now you have a big problem. Can I say that again? The problem is not the problem. The problem is that you think the problem is the problem, so you have created a problem that wasn't a problem, that has become the problem, not because it was a problem, but because you thought it was the problem, it has become a problem. Let me make it easy for you. So, A person looks at their wallet right now and they don't have money, and they think that that is the problem. Guess what? That is not the problem. The biggest problem. So, not having money in the wallet can actually become a problem because you think it was a problem. Maybe, okay, if you go and dig and ask yourself, why don't I have money in the wallet? Maybe it's my financial discipline. Okay, what has caused my financial discipline? And then you go digging, you may find that it is something that you never thought the problem. You never thought was actually the problem. Yeah. So by now you've seen that most problems actually come from unproductive thinking. Okay, our time is fast spent, but now we need to go to two things. One, and I think I'll combine them in the interest of time, and that is to define what productive thinking is and to show you how to think productively. So, are you ready? Good. I hope you're loving this as much as I am. Please, the hashtag is Think Productive. And if you need to leave a question or a comment, the handle is at Consult Sudesh. Consult Sudesh is one word. So, moving on to productive thinking now. Productive thinking is simply a process of generating ideas, insights, and solutions that lead to meaningful outcomes and positive results. So, anytime you generate an idea, an insight, or a solution that leads you to get positive results, you're thinking productively. You're thinking about creative ways to get the house clean faster and effectively. That's productive. You're thinking about creative ways how to educate your children. That is productive. You're thinking about creative ways how to buy land in 90 days. That is creative. Yeah. So that is creative. That is productive thinking. Now, the about paper and or a phone. So I want you to open either a blank sheet on your phone or get your pen, get your pencil, and then we'll go through the 5 steps. This is highly interactive. As a matter of fact, I think I might have to do a video for this so that you see how it works in an interactive way. So the first step to you thinking productively is to have a goal. Always productive thinking is goal bound. There's a tool that I want to share with you right now. It's called EGO. A for America, G for Germany, and O for organogram. The A stands for aims, the G stands for goals, and the O stands for objectives. So every time you're thinking, you should have an aim if you're going to be productive. What is the aim of your thinking? Are you thinking about a productive way of you having a more fulfilling marriage? Are you thinking about a productive way of you managing your finances? Are you thinking about a cost-effective way of you getting around Kampala town or getting around the cities of the world or traveling without spending a lot of money? What is the aim of your thinking process? Now that you have the aim of your thinking process, it's time for us to go to the next step. So the next step, now that you have the aim, is to expound on the possibilities. What are the possibilities? Let's say your aim, your goal for the thinking process, for the productive thinking session was and is to travel around the world with friends and family without spending a lot of money. All right, that is a worthwhile goal. That is a worthwhile aim. Now let's go to expounding possibilities. And again, I told you this is very interactive. Again, I'm going to introduce a very simple tool, and this tool is called APC. The A for Apple stands for alternatives, the P is for possibilities, and the C for choices. So, going back, you want to travel the world in cost-effective ways with friends and family. What could be the alternatives? The alternatives could be that you're using air. The alternatives could be that you're carpooling. The other alternative could be that you're using a bus. You're doing what? You're walking, you're hiking, you're getting on the road, you're doing a pilgrimage. Okay, and then now let's get to the possibilities. What are the possibilities? The possibilities are that, let's say, you can only travel once every quarter because that's when you can get leave from the work, and that allows you time with your family to budget and get all the travel arrangements done. All right, and then how are you going to make the choices? It could be that everyone in the family mentions a travel place that they want to go to. That travel place should be less than 2 hours away from where you are. Okay, let's say you're in Kampala, so that place could be around Jinja, it could be around Lugazi, it could be around Entebbe, it could be around PG, it could be around Mitiana, Mubende, places that take close to 2 hours. And so you have a bowl, everyone puts a travel destination in that bowl, and when you draw, so you do the raffle, and then you say, okay, this time it's our firstborn Samantha who is going to choose our travel destination. And when Samantha chooses, let's say Masheda Palms on Mitiana Road, we go to Masheda Palms. So you see how I've just used it: alternatives, possibilities, and choices. So we are expanding the possibilities, we're making it fun. All right, I hope you're learning something as much as I am. All right, so far you have a goal, and now you've expounded on the possibilities. Now it's time to go to the third step. The third step is to embrace what we call first principle design thinking. First principle design thinking is when you have a new piece of technology that comes along that is so different that it requires everyone to reset their thinking and change their behavior. Case in point, I want you to imagine the year is 1903. Okay, no. Imagine the year is 1800. There are no cars. The roads are narrow. They are made of marram, and all you have, the bourgeoisies or the rich people of the time, are people that use they use a cart and a horse. So you have a horse in front, and then you have a cart that looks like a big wheelbarrow with chairs, and then you sit at the back, and then you pull the horse, and then it takes you to where you want to go. Yeah. So the year is 1800, and that is the mode of movement. Now, that mode of movement means that we have to breed more horses, we have to get more vets in place, we have to get people that clean the horse dung, yeah, and then of course the people that are making a lot of money during that time are people that study biology. And then the year is I want you to move fast forward. The year is 1903. Ford is inventing the first automobile. And this new piece of technology needs people to think different. Now, we are not thinking about breeding. We are thinking about manufacturing of the car. We are thinking about manufacturing of the spare parts. We're not thinking about vets that are going to treat the horses. We're thinking about mechanics, and now they're going to fix the cars. We're not thinking about where the dung is going to be collected. No, we're thinking about petrol stations and how the cars are going to refuel. Now, the biologists are not in vogue it is the mechanical engineers in vogue. So you can see that I like actually what Ford said. He said that in order for him to come up with a car, he had to think first principles design thinking. He said that if we had asked people what they wanted, they would have told us that they wanted a faster horse. Usually, most people do not know how to come up with things that do not exist through their thoughts. Now, I can show you that we are good at design thinking, and we are good at this whole thinking process at Sudesh International. And if you need a workshop on that, we can help you come up with ideas that don't exist. But I'm not able to do that on the call, but I hope you understand what it's all about. All right. So those are 3 characteristics of productive thinking and steps. Now I want to move to the 4th, which is learning and growth. So we've gone through, you have a goal, you have expounded on the possibilities, you've also explored the fact that you can come up with first principle design thinking ideas that do not exist. Now, the other thing of a productive thinking is that you have to be ready to learn and grow. Sometimes it's not going to work. Sometimes it's going to be way out of your league, or it's going to be ahead of time. But you have to ask yourself, what did I learn from it? You know the story of the bulb. The guy makes so many experiments. It doesn't work. He learns from it and he keeps on tweaking. I've told this story on one of the Twitter spaces before, that when we started Sudesh International, the whole idea, we started out as a supply chain consulting company. What does that have? What do those guys do? Those guys make sure that the Coca-Cola bottle down in the village in Kabale, where Elvis comes from, is always there so that he can buy it at Christmas. That is what supply chain consulting does. So that is where we began from. But over time we've had to learn and grow, and at the moment we're into the business of creating clarity for forward-thinking leaders through training, coaching, and consulting. But we've evolved over time. Now, as we learned thinking, we went on to refining the value proposition. So just because you start out doing something doesn't mean that you will end there. You have to evolve. Just like people evolve, businesses evolve, and thoughts evolve. And that's how you learn to think productively. Not to say, I started out Micah thing as a school, I'll stick to this thing as a school, or I'm an attorney and I'll stay as an attorney for the 20, 30, 40 years of my career. No, you have to learn how to evolve. But again, that can be taught. And the 5th step is to learn the adaptability and flexibility, basically what I've just been talking about. So the 5 steps of productive thinking: number 1, have a goal, expound on the possibilities, be ready to venture into first principle design thinking, learn and grow, and then be open to adaptability and flexibility. All right. Okay. So let me see. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed this Twitter space where we've been discussing how to think productively. And I started by discussing I gave you a few nuggets about thinking, and then we went on to define what the purpose of thinking is. I explored what unproductive thinking is and what productive thinking is, and I've taken you through a 5-step process. So with that said, we've come to the end. I'll get to answer any questions that we have, and then I will go on to the next thing. Let me see. Do we have any questions? Okay. Let me see if we have any questions here. Just give me some time. I'm trying to see whether we have any questions. Julie, thanks for joining. Ahuera Arnold is saying the first step to productively thinking is to have a goal. You're right, sir. Most of the time, the problem is not the problem. Okay, you got that right. Thanks, Arnold. Okay, Cedric saying what? Okay, I don't see any questions. I just see comments. All right. Looks like there is no question for today. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed it. I have one last word. I ask you to practice productive thinking, and that is how you get ahead in this business. And I also ask you to go back and listen to the recording. And if you need to consult on anything, please feel free to send through your questions. We'll be able to answer them. And if you need training done on productive thinking, we'll be more than glad to do it. The number is +256 773 34 23 24. All right. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. And we've come to the end of our Twitter space. Bye-bye. Adios, muchachos.